Good evening, everyone, and it is Sunday night, and I guess a lot of you are probably wondering, is this guy ever going to participate in the discussion board? And this week I'm doing it in a certain way, and the answer is here is my participation at the end of the week, because as I sit here tonight at let's see, 9:02 p.m. Sunday night, we're up to 84 entries on that discussion board that everybody's been working on in week one. And I really want everyone to understand that they are really outstanding entries. I really have read all of them, and across the board, I can see that a lot of people did pay attention to the material, to the text, have had some experience maybe with these concepts, uh, have expressed some really sound opinions on them, have engaged in a dialogue, which is what it's all about. And frankly, I just haven't wanted to interrupt that. I don't think at this point that I saw during the week that there was anything I needed to do to facilitate the exchange. I thought it was going really well. And one of the things that I will do on occasion is if I see a discussion that's proceeding very well, I tend to let it run. The other reason I didn't jump in the middle and start asking questions and poking and prodding and trying to direct is that I tend to have some very strong feelings about the subject matter we were talking about. Uh, we were definitely talking about vision, values, and mission. And me being the guy who wrote the PDF that you saw and has developed a lot of the concepts and the materials in this course, I didn't want to impose my will on it. Now, you could say, no, that's not going to happen, but you know what I found frequently, sometimes the professor jumps in way too early. People start saying what you think I want to hear, and that's not at all what I want to hear, because it's very important that we understand in many of the things that we're going to do in this class, there are no right answers. There are interpretations. There's a lot of hard work, but I don't have the absolute answer. But in this case, I wanted to stay out till the end because, as I said, I have some strong opinions and strong feelings about the whole idea of vision, values, and mission. And in those opinions, I frequently differ with what a lot of the literature says. I differ with what a lot of my colleagues have done in that field. We don't exactly use the same terminology. We don't totally agree on what some of the words mean. So I thought at the end of the discussion here, I'd kind of summarize for you the way I feel about it, and to see how that fits in with what you were thinking. Many of you did agree with me. Some of you didn't, and that's not because I think you just took the things in the PDF and in the text at their face value, but it really looks like a lot of people thought about them. And for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and tell you where I stand, as if you couldn't tell already. Uh, I asked you if you put them in an order, in a rank order, top to bottom. And it's really hard to do because I gave you three, and now I'm going to cheat a little bit and say, well, I don't have a rank ordering of one, two, and three. I have sort of a rank ordering of one and two held up by the third element. And what do I mean by that? Okay, well, I tend to think that vision is the first thing that you have to develop. I think that you really have to have that picture of what the company, what your organization will look like. I think you really need to know where your organization's going, why it's going there. What is it? It's essentially what is your organization? What is your company? What is your group? What do you want to be when you grow up? And will you ever get there? And the idea is, if you know that, then a lot of things are going to become, well, I don't want to say easier, but they're going to become simpler. Some people may have worked with me before, have heard me say a lot of times, a lot of the stuff we're going to do is very simple, but it's not very easy. And I'm going to tell you, developing a vision for an organization that statement of where you want to be, what you want to become, why you exist, that's a very hard thing for people to do. And I've worked with many companies over the years to do that. And I think part of it is maybe a reflection of my generation. As you can see, I'm not exactly a youngster, and I've been at this for a while. And one of the things that I found very hard during my consulting career was when we started to talk about vision, a lot of people didn't see that as a very hard tool. They saw it as more of a soft, touchy-feely, oh, let's just go out and dream about where we want to be. And I used to tell them the dream was a very good word, as long as you didn't let it become a fantasy. As long as you could conceive of the reality of your vision, of the reality, of possible reality of your dream, that was okay. In fact, that was preferable. And one of the things I've always said, a vision is so vast and so broad, but it really defines who you are and what you're going to do, because everything you do in all your business activities now has to be performed to support the potential achievement of the vision. If it doesn't support the achievement of the vision, why do it? Why are you doing it at all? And that's one of the things I really wanted to emphasize to people. It's got to be believable. It's got to be something you can think you can get to, but you may never get there. But it's the ideal condition. The mission is where I differ with a lot of people too. A lot of people say mission is, they like to use mission as the term to say, this is who we are, this is why we exist, this is it. This is our mission is to do X. Well, I say your mission is to do X in support of the vision, in support of achieving the vision. The mission is just a big, big, huge goal. This is what we need to do to accomplish X, okay? Maybe I've used X already, so this X is what I need to do to accomplish Y. All right, that's what you need to get in the idea of a mission. Missions are meant to be accomplished in support of achieving the vision. Once you've accomplished the mission, you go on to the next mission, and then to the next mission, and then to the next. And you keep renewing them and achieving them and getting and making progress along with what's there. But what happens with a lot of people is they kind of confuse the two. Some people try to blend the two and move them together. I think that's really kind of something we really want not to happen. I think we want people to look at I'm stalling for words here. I think we want to look at them as separate concepts, working in concert, but not confusing them. The third is values. Values to me are really important, because values, what's most important about values is it's this set of beliefs, this set of principles, this set of really rules for behavior that says how we will do business. More importantly, it says how we will not do business. And when you start talking about values, a lot of people say, well, how can that be a resource allocation tool? Well, certainly it can be, because, if something's outside your value set, why would you even consider doing it? Why would you waste time, energy, money, brain power, whatever, working on something that doesn't conform with your values? It's just not good business. We only have a limited amount of resources to work with at any given time. None of us in any of our organizations has every last bit and an inexhaustible supply of resources. At some point, we're going to run up against limits. Values help you use things within your limits. And remember, I said in the PDF, the most important question about values, how do you tell if something is a value? Well, if it can never be compromised for financial gain, that's the test it has to meet in business. Okay? Very tough for a lot of us to understand. And believe me, I've had it tested in my career. I've seen it personally, I've seen it organizationally, and it's a tough concept to deal with. So I see the order as being vision, which is then supported by missions that you accomplish, And these are all supported and held up by values, which are the boundaries of which we do things. And with those three things, those three major tools, now you've come up with a system of resource allocation. Let me put it in another way, too. Many of us, at some stage of our life, we all were one, huh? We were a kid. And this is my definition of vision for a lot of people. Imagine we have a little 4 or 5 year old kid, maybe a little older because they really understand, 7, 8 year old kid, and convenient from my memory as a male, I'll talk about a little boy, and let's say that little boy wants to be a fireman. Well, what does he do? What does he play with? What are his toys? What does he read? What does he dress like? Well, when he says he wants to be a fireman, well, go in his room and there's pictures of firefighters on the wall. His toys are toy fire trucks. He wants to be take on visits to the fire station. He, God forbid, but maybe he runs around the house starting fires so he can hose them down and put them out. You see, everything in that kid's life revolves around being a firefighter. In fact, if you ask him, Johnny, do you want to grow up to be a firefighter? He gives you this look that says, what do you mean, do I want to be a firefighter? I am a firefighter. That's how invested he is in the idea. That's his vision. He sees himself as the firefighter. That's the kind of enthusiasm for the idea that we have to bring to our businesses. You see, unfortunately, though, for us as adults in responsible and accountable positions, we don't have the luxury that little Johnny has because, next week he might want to be an airplane pilot. Week after that, he wants to be a baseball player. Week after that, he wants to be a doctor. All right? We can't have that childlike lack of focus or attention span. But while he wants to be one of those things, boom, everything is done in support of his being whatever that vision is. We have to have that same kind of focus for our businesses. That's what makes developing a vision so tough. Once you've done that, the development of missions is quite a bit simplified. Maybe it's not uncomplicated. Maybe it's not made easier, but it's simplified. Things become simple, but they don't get easy. That's my contribution to the discussion. And I think a lot of you have had your discussions around those kind of thoughts. And it's been great to read. And I think I'll probably get a few more tonight. So stick with me as we try to get these things ironed out and get the technical issues of getting the videos to be a little bit more live. And thanks for the great work so far. I just have a sense, because of what I've seen this week, that we're really going to have a tremendous course. Thank you very much.